Hello and welcome to All 32. My name is Arabia and here we talk all things football. I am so happy to be here right now. I feel like I haven't really been on YouTube in a minute to do this longer form content and to really hang out. So let's hang out today and talk some ball. I'm so happy to see you, but I'm even happier to hear from you. So make sure if you support the channel, you like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that so we can talk ball. I don't know where you're geographically located, but where I am in DC, it's 99 degrees. Okay, so if it's hot where you are, like it's hot where I am, try to stay hydrated, try to stay cool in the shade, stay safe. Use sunscreen, black people. Yes, black people. I don't want to hear black people don't need sunscreen. Yes, you do. If you're out in this heat, make sure that you're protecting yourself, okay? And just stay safe. That's all I want. I just want you to stay safe. All right, because I'm staying cool and out of the sun, out of this heat. Today, we're going to be talking about Kyler Murray. We're going to be talking about Russell Wilson. We're going to be talking about the Texans and all sorts of things. But let's start off by breaking down a play, okay? If you know me, you know I love film. I'm a film junkie. What can I say? I can't help it. So let's break down a play. All right, so we have double tight formation. Just a little bit of context about this game, about this play. That's Davis Mills under center for the Texans right now. It was week 18 and Houston had already clinched the division. CJ Stroud only played the first offensive series. He went like 6 for 6 for 50 yards and a touchdown. Then he took the rest of the game off. So kick back and relax, CJ, and get ready to lose to the Chiefs in the divisional round. Zone right out of double tight formation. That's Damen Pierce in the backfield. The box is loaded like a potato. Let's see what ends up happening. A beautiful lane opens right up for Pierce, and it's off to the races. Longest rushing touchdown of the season, 92-yard run. But let's take a closer look, okay? Football is such a connected team sport that more is happening to this run than Damen Pierce simply doing a good job running, which he did. Two defensive players I want to look at. Number 17 here, Jerome Baker, and number 57 here, Luke Gifford, okay? Let's start with the front side linebacker here. He's responsible for this A-gap. Let's see what he ends up doing. Let's see what Jerome Baker ends up doing. Where you going, bud? What is over there? What do you see? What are you anticipating? What are you reading that you end up all the way over there? Look at where you are. Look at what you're doing. And look at where Pierce is. Okay, let's take a look at 17 again. All right, once again, we talk about his responsibility. The second level of defense for the Titans just did not do a good job. I'm not saying that Jerome Baker is a bad player at all. I'm not saying that Jerome Baker does these things typically. Just this particular play was not good football for this second level of defense for Tennessee. All right, starting with the front side linebacker 17 here. Again, he's responsible for this A-gap right here. And look at what he ends up doing. Look at where he ends up going. All the way over here, and for what? Okay, so that's just not good football being played right there. The backside linebacker, honestly, number 57, Luke Gifford right here, is not much better. But he has a much greater start. If we pause it here, he reads this very well. First of all, look at this lane. The lane from this angle is absolutely beautiful. Oh, I love football. 57 reads it very well. He's there. He's looking at Pierce, looking at him, looking at Pierce, looking at him, looking at Pierce. And he has every opportunity at this moment to just angle himself upfield. Yes, there's a monster on the loose, and his name is Laramie Tunsil. He's right there ready to clean him up. All right, but as of right now, he reads this well, and he's in decent position to meet Damen Pierce in the backfield. So let's see what ends up happening. How, Sway? How? Let's just take another look at that. Because he makes all these lateral movements to the left instead of getting downfield. Yes, like I said, Laramie Tunsil cleans him up at the end of that lane. But Laramie Tunsil also doesn't do anything crazy. It wasn't a hard kick out, but he gets there in a timely manner to clean up the end of the lane for Damen Pierce. All right. The Texans O-line was one of the worst offensive lines in football last year, but there are some really, really good things happening here. Two more people I want to point out from Houston. Number one is Titus Howard. Okay, he's right here. I want you to see this big boy block. Look at this big boy block. Boom, does a fantastic job right here, cleaning up the top of this lane. Look at this. Space, time, opportunity. That is a great job right here by Titus Howard. Does a really fantastic job blocking up here. And in general, if your guards are doing their job, if they're on their assignment, then it really gives your running back a lot of space and a lot of opportunity for the run, okay? So overall, not a great season for this offensive line unit, but this particular play, Titus Howard does an amazing job. I want you to look at someone else, and let's just look at Laramie Tunsil one more time coming here in a timely fashion and get 57 out of there, all right? So Damen Pierce can get 92 of them things. Another person I want you to look at is tight end Cade Stover, okay? He's number 87. He's right over here, all right? I love pointing out these tight ends when they can put their hands in the dirt with the big boys, all right? So what he's going to do, he sealed the D-gap. He cuts off the end and gets a 2-for-1, sealing the backside. Watch him get off the defensive end into the second level, creating a wall with Titus Howard here, okay? Watch him. He's over here. Boom. Gets off the defensive end, cleans up 21. And that's exactly what he was supposed to do. Boom. He gets off this defensive end, then he gets to that second level player here. Look at that. Him and Titus Howard right here. Amazing job. That's beautiful football. That's great football by this offensive line. And unfortunately, bad football by this linebacker room. Okay, there's some other stuff happening with 44 we're not going to talk about. There are a few other things happening in this play that we're just not going to mention. But as of right now, 17-57 just had a bad play. That's okay. That's all right. No matter what your profession is, sometimes you just have a bad play. If you're an accountant, sometimes you have a bad play as an accountant. All right, firefighters, police officers, media members, sometimes you just have a bad play. This happens to everybody. So no, I'm not saying they're bad players or bad people or this is typical play from them, but this particular play wasn't too great for them. So now let's talk about the Texans running back room. Okay, now they have Joe Mixon, they have Nick Chubb, and they have Damen Pierce. These three behind this new offensive line is something to watch out for because Houston had one of the worst offensive lines in football last year. They made some changes. Laramie Tunsil's with the Commanders now. Green also went to the NFC East. He's with Philly now. Shaq Mason was cut. They did acquire a guard, Ed Ingram from the Vikings. They also got Laken Tomlinson, another guard. He was with the Seahawks last year, but he's been in the league since like 2015. He played for the Lions, the 49ers, I think the Jets for a while. Titus Howard is still in the league. Titus Howard is still there. They signed Cam Robinson, who was a tackle, also from the Vikings, although Cam Robinson was only there for a year. Before that, he was with the Jaguars since 2017. So about 8 years in Jacksonville before his 1 year in Minnesota. They signed another tackle, Trent Brown, who's also been in the league for a while. He was with the Bengals last year. But before that, he was with the Patriots, Raiders, and another guy who's with the 49ers. They got a center from New England. They also drafted a tackle this year in the second round out of Minnesota. He was ranked 7th out of all offensive tackles this year in the draft. So a lot of changes for Houston. They still have Jarrett Peterson. They still have Juice Scruggs. They still have that tight end that we talked about, Cade Stover, putting his hand in the dirt with the big boys when he needs to for this run game. So this run game could be very interesting, could be very good if the offensive line creates opportunities, okay? I think these running backs are capable of a lot. If this offensive line gives them opportunities, then Houston could significantly increase their ground game, which is just going to help C.J. Stroud. As of right now, it's reported that the likely starters on the line are Cam Robinson replacing Laramie Tunsil at left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, and Titus Howard at right guard. Right now, center and right tackle are kind of up for grabs, so there is some competition to be had over the next few months. C.J. Stroud, speaking of C.J. Stroud, he needs protection. Okay, it said that he had a sophomore slump last year, and I get it, but a lot of it, not to make excuses, a lot of it was a bad offensive line. Some of it was on him. He tends to hold on to the ball for too long, but some of it was this offensive line. But he needs protection. He has Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Christian Kirk stayed in the division and added to the room from Jacksonville. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this offense runs with O-line changes, additions to the running back room, addition to the wide receiver room, and under new offensive coordinator, Nick Caley. Speaking of offensive coordinator, isn't it so funny how just one season of play can significantly change your stock? Because around this time last year, we were just talking so highly of Bobby Sloick, and he was in the run of being head coach somewhere and being talked about in this coaching carousel with like Aaron Glenn, Mike McDonald, Ben Johnson, and they fired him. And now he is passing game coordinator for the Dolphins, I believe. So interesting how 1 year can really just change a lot. So when you see players holding out or when you see coaches kind of jump ship early and try to get these gigs for upward mobility, this is why. This game is so connected. Your job is so connected to other people also doing their job that you got to strike when the iron's hot. And Bobby Slowick's iron was hot last season. Last offseason, that thing was hot. But not so much now, and that's okay. I still think he's a good player. I think he has a great mind. And I think wherever he ends up, he's an addition to that staff. Coming up, we will talk about the Instagram comment of the day. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to All 32. I want to get into the Instagram comment segment of the show. So when I put someone's Instagram comment up here, it's not to berate them. It's not to speak negatively about them. It's actually a compliment because I think they commented something under one of my videos that was interesting and that could spark interesting conversation that is worth talking about. So today's Instagram comment is brought to us by King J _court. So a few days ago, I posted a video about a top 10 quarterbacks list going into the 2025 season that did not include Jalen Hurts. Okay, it had some folks in the tizzy. Some folks agreed, some folks didn't agree. And this man, King J _court, had what I think is a very interesting comment that's worth talking about. Okay, he said, Justin Herbert and Josh Allen both are there based off potential. Neither one of them has accomplished anything. So Justin Herbert was on this top 10 list. Obviously, Josh Allen was on this top 10 list. And he's saying neither of them have accomplished anything and that they're both there based off potential. I had originally in the video said that Justin Herbert has to stop being in top 5 lists based off potential because he hasn't done anything. I think this guy, King J Court, is saying, well, Josh Allen hasn't done anything either. Interesting conversation to be had about potential and what it means to accomplish something in the NFL. My reply to that is, if we think accomplishing something in the NFL means winning a Super Bowl, there are only 6 quarterbacks in the NFL who have won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, and Russell Wilson. So when we talk about accomplishments, we can't use Super Bowl wins as the only metric of accomplishments. Otherwise, these top 10 lists wouldn't even have 10 names on them. So when we look at what Josh Allen has done versus what Justin Herbert has done, Josh Allen has led his team to the playoffs 6 times in the last 7 seasons, including the AFC Championship game. Justin Herbert has 0 playoff wins. 0. He's been to the playoffs twice. And I think the 5 years that he's been in the league, and has lost both times. And both times that he's lost, I have seen him personally be the one who sometimes costs his team a play or a drive or whatever it is. So he's adding to the reason why they've lost those games. So when we talk about accomplishments and about potential, the differences between the two is clear to me. Have either of them reached the mountaintop? No, they have not. And that's fair. But Josh Allen isn't on the list merely for potential, because he's actually accomplished things in the playoffs and put his team on his back, not only to get to the playoffs, but while he was in the playoffs. But thank you so much, King J _court, for your comment, for being part of the All 32 fam. It's always a pleasure hearing from you. Thank you for being here. And watch out, you guys might see your profile here in the Instagram comment section. And if you want to see your comments featured, just DM it to me and I'll put it on the YouTube. Coming up next, can Kyler Murray play off schedule? Sam Darnold looks to prove that last year was not a fluke, and more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to All 32. Kyler Murray says he wants to play better off schedule. So can he do it? I think he can, if healthy. He's dealt with some injuries since being in the league since 2019, hamstring, ankle, knee. But even with that, he's had 85 rushing yards over expected on designed runs last season, which was number 1 among all quarterbacks in the NFL. But, and there's usually a but, he only took 27 design runs. So in comparison, Lamar Jackson had 79 design runs, Jaden Daniels had 58, Daniel Jones had 31. So it wasn't called much, but when it was, he overproduced compared to his counterparts. So let's talk about what he did off schedule, because that's what he said. He wants to play better. He wants to play better off schedule. He was not as productive off schedule. He ranked 6th in rushing yards over expected on scramble carries. So on 44 carries, he had 100 more rushing yards than expected on scrambles. Compare that to Lamar Jackson, who scrambled about the same amount. Lamar Jackson scrambled 48 times. Kyler Murray scrambled 44 times. But Lamar Jackson, 160 rushing yards over expected. So what does that mean? I think Kyler Murray can do it. He's not too far off. There are 3 key things that I think needs to happen if he wants to play better off schedule. Number 1, you got to have that instinct out of structure. Be decisive. Are you running it yourself or are you scrambling as you're going through your progressions? He tends to hold on to the ball too long, especially against the blitz. 7th highest in the NFL. He's got to make quick, smart decisions. That leads me to the second key, which is actually great news. O-line, O-line, O-line. The offensive line has to stay on their blocks through the play if Kyler's going to go through his reads. And the Cardinals' offensive line last year was good. Despite Kyler holding onto the ball too long against the blitz, they were 11th in pressure rate and 18th in sack rate, so about middle of the pack against the blitz. But they were even better against 4 or fewer rushers. So if you're in a typical 4-3 defense, or if a team put a 3-4 package out there, which doesn't happen a lot, but against your standard defensive line, the Cardinals offensive line ranked 5th in pressures and 2nd in sack rate. And they also did a really, really good job providing opportunities for the run, but that's a story for another time. We'll talk about James Conner at another time. So second key was offensive line staying on their blocks and letting Kyler cook. And third, receivers. Him and Marvin Harrison Jr. got to get that chemistry. Receivers got to find open space, got to block when necessary if he's going to scramble. It's got to be a team effort, and his receivers got to get open or get blocking. I don't think any of these 3 things are unreasonable to see progress in, so I would not be surprised if Kyler led the Cardinals to play better off schedule this season. Sam Darnold is with the Seahawks now. He inked a 3-year, $100 million contract in Seattle after having an impressive 2024 season with the Vikings. Will we see the same or similar level of play from Sam Darnold this season in Seattle? First, let's take a look at this Seattle offense because it is vastly different than even last season. We have Geno Smith traded to the Raiders. They sign Sam Darnold and get Jalen Milroe out of the draft. Boom, that's the quarterback room. Tyler Lockett is with the Titans now. DK Metcalf was traded to the Steelers. So they signed Cooper Kupp and they also signed MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. In the tight end room, Pharaoh Brown is with the Dolphins now, and they signed Eric Sambert. So guard, Laken Tomlinson, we talked about him earlier. He's in Houston now. So they get a guard in the first round of the draft this year, number 18 overall pick, Gray Zabel. There have been numerous more moves for Seattle this offseason, so it's hard to say what Sam Darnold will look like on a team that's quite new to each other, including new offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, who was the offensive coordinator for the Saints last year. But Sam Darnold feels like he could have played better last season, saying, quote, I feel like I could have played way better, to be completely honest with you. I feel like I didn't play up to my standard. I truly feel that way. I feel like if I would have just played better, I would have been able to give the team a chance. So those are Sam Darnold's feelings. He feels like if he played better at quarterback, then the Vikings would have had a better chance at really making a Super Bowl run. And I think that's fair, but also I think Sam Darnold overperformed in everybody's standard. Like nobody really saw Sam Darnold come. But his new teammate, Cooper Kupp, spoke very highly of him, saying, I think without a doubt, he's got his best football ahead of him. I love his competitiveness. He's not okay with things being just okay. So a few reunions for Seattle this season. Week 2, they played DK Metcalf and the Steelers. Week 3, Clint Kubiak goes against his former Saints. Cooper Kupp sees the Rams in Week 11, and Sam Darnold sees the Seahawks versus the Vikings in Week 13. Coming up next, Russell Wilson said he signed with the Giants because of Malik Nabors, and the Raiders signed a 6'5" receiver who ran a 4.3 40. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to All 32. Let's talk about the Giants. Russell Wilson said he signed with the Giants because of Malik Nabors. Wilson was at Fanatics Fest last weekend and said, quote, I came here because of him. I really wanted to play with someone who was special like him. Now, wide receiver Malik Nabors was one of the best rookies in the league last year, despite troubles at the quarterback position. So he absolutely is special. Russell Wilson is right. He played at LSU with Jaden Daniels and Brian Thomas Jr. and is absolutely someone any quarterback would be happy throwing the ball to. So I am looking forward to his sophomore season. Russell Wilson right now is on a 1-year deal with New York, so he has extra motivation to move the needle in New York in a pretty tough division with the Super Bowl champion Eagles, then the up-and-coming contenders and the Commanders, and the Cowboys, who in general do well, at least in the regular season. So very understandable that Russell Wilson would have Malik Nabors be the one to really move the needle for him as far as joining New York. The Raiders drafted wide receiver Dont'e Thornton Jr. in the 4th round of the draft this year. Thornton is 6'5" and ran a 4.340 at the combine, which is the second fastest of any wideout. And he's the tallest player to run a 4.3 at the combine since 2003. Obviously, these 40 times in other measurements don't necessarily directly translate to a big, successful NFL career. But Raiders owner Mark Davis said Thornton was the Al Davis pick of the draft, meaning his dad, Hall of Famer Al Davis, was known for liking these types of athletes. Raiders GMs John Spytek and offensive coordinator Chip Kelly are both in agreement that Thornton is special and has potential to be a difference maker on this offense. Spytek said Thornton has raw traits, is fast, is athletic, and has impressive target tape and hasn't reached his ceiling yet. Chip Kelly said, if you have to draw an outside receiver, you'd pick this type of body type. Sometimes you get a big guy like that, but he can't really run. And so I think he's very impressed with not just his size, but his athleticism at this size. Thornton adds to an offense led by Geno Smith, rookie sensation last year, tight end Brock Bowers, who was absolutely sensational. Speaking of rookies that just overperformed last year, Brock Bowers absolutely was one of the best rookies in the league last year. So he's got Geno Smith under center. He's got tight end Brock Bowers. He's got fellow 2025 rookie Ashton Jenney coming out of the backfield under leadership from head coach Pete Carroll. If the Raiders get a strong ground game going and Thornton can be productive in play action, the Raiders certainly could see better play this season. Mind you, they had to play the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos twice each, which is no easy feat, but they could get something going. We'll see. Also, just a small mental note. The Raiders opened the season against the Patriots. Tom Brady is part owner of the Raiders, and well, we all know his history with the Patriots. It's in New England, airing on CBS. Tom Brady is a lead game analyst for Fox, so he won't be calling that game, but just the connection between Tom Brady being part owner of the Raiders and them having their season opener in Foxborough against the Patriots. It's just like a little random fact for this season. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Make sure that if you support the channel, you like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow me on social media. I have Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and Facebook. All of that is linked in the description box below. See you next time.